Hello to everyone that is at Comic-Con right now. You're having a great time. You're looking down at your phones. You're like, I want to see Pete and Brian and what they have to say about Marvel today. And for all of you guys that are like us at home, just getting the snippets on YouTube and getting the announcements on Twitter, welcome. Come join our live discussion today where we are talking about everything MCU that is coming out between now and when the world ends, which is most likely 2027, right? So, how you doing, my man?
Doing good. You know,
Nice.
one of these days, we have to go to San Diego Comic Con. I know that in general, I don't think it's what it's used to be because I
No.
think the pandemic kind of killed it in a way that everybody thought like, well, I don't need to go here. I can have my own event and do all the stuff there.
Right.
So, but still, like I sent you like a tweet of like the reaction when they showed like the whole timeline and that, and they showed the Avengers logos and all the excitement in that room. I want to be in that just once.
Yes.
You have to
yes.
be there too.
Well, we're going next year, you and me, man.
Okay, let's do it.
Because I know the reason why I think we're going next year is because my wife actually recommended it. And if my wife recommended it, then I think it might actually happen.
All right, let's do that. Yes.
Yes.
Next year. That's it. Settled.
Boom. Okay. So we just need about $3,000 each, and then we're good.
Fuck. And then that's what we're gonna spend.
All right. So here's the deal. Brian and I have been watching all the Comic-Con stuff, and we thought about covering every single thing because there's a Transformers show called Earthspark that we're excited about. There is, of course, DC news. But for today, since there's so much, we're just going to focus on Marvel and Phase 5 and now Phase 6. Before we get to that, though, Brian, you said that you had some, like you were kind of excited about some DC stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that I think, as I just said, SDCC doesn't seem to be as exciting as it once was. I feel like used to be like a ton more and bigger stuff shown. And I think the only thing that like really, really blew me out of the water here was the Marvel stuff. Yeah, and that's not to say there wasn't other good stuff there, but it seemed like there was less stuff this time around. And DC only showed two things. They showed a Shazam, they had a Shazam cast and a trailer, and they had a Black Adam cast. I don't think they even had any new footage. I think it was just like The Rock came out and a couple other stars. And there was it was heavily rumored that Henry Cavill was going to be there, and they were going to announce something with Henry Cavill, but it didn't happen. Now, would that have made an impact with in the DC versus Marvel race here? Like, do you think? Like, I feel like what Warner Brothers show was a drop in the bucket compared to Marvel here. Would have it evened it a little bit if they would have announced Henry Cavill coming back as Superman in another Superman movie?
I think it's all a matter of context, right? Because they just announced recently that a lot of the Restore the Snyderverse stuff was actually just bots, right? And like Zack Snyder himself has kind of been, like DC's kind of trying to move away from him. Jim Lee made an announcement this week that said like they're not planning on continuing anything that was like one of his creations, which is kind of funny because when you look at that Shazam trailer, they reference those Justice League characters, right?
Yes, exactly.
I think that there's such a sort of a negative connotation with the Zack Snyder movies, and it only gets even worse because of the Flash too, right? And that version with what's his face? Who's the what's their face? Ezra Miller, right? Oh. Yeah.
How can you forget our favorite side story, Ezra Miller?
Right. Right. Yeah, I think they kidnapped like 15 kids at Comic-Con, and they're all doing acid right now in a church. But besides that, though, I just think that even if Henry Cavill came out and they're like, oh, here comes this new Superman movie, it's going to be Superman Warworld or some kind of thing, or like Superman Brainiac, I just think that people would be excited. But unless there was like footage with like crazy Superman stuff going on, I don't think it would have this impact of the Marvel announcement. What about you?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you there. I think they would have had to show some kind of footage to get me like super hyped, but it would have helped because like we knew those other stuff, we knew all that stuff was coming. They didn't announce anything new. I would have liked to have seen some better footage of Flash or something of Aquaman, or even an announcement of something else that's coming down the pipeline. But they just literally just showed those two movies, and that was it.
Yeah. I think that like with comic books now, it's so mainstream. It's so like it is our culture, our pop culture. And like to get the hit that we used to get from previous Comic Cons, like it's like with drugs, right? Like you need a stronger hit to get that effect. And like you would have probably needed to show like the Michael Keaton Batman from that Flash movie, and then show Henry Cavill or something to make it be on the level of the Marvel stuff. And it's kind of interesting because oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you can always argue that maybe they're just holding it out for fandom.
Yeah. And you're very right. That could be it. I think that with these movies now, they're so like drawn out, right? Like the Marvel movies, some of them that we're anticipating are coming out in like 2026, right? And we're in 2022 right now. And so it's like, you can't just like have your freaking money shot today because you got to like make it be exciting next Comic-Con and next Comic-Con. So I think that maybe they're holding out, like you said, to DC Fandom or maybe even the next Comic-Con, like where it'll be closer to the release dates.
Maybe. Good point.
You know? Yeah. So was there any other DC stuff that you were going to say or ask about?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. And we're real excited about Transformers Earthrise. We like the casting of Alan Tudyk, you know, our boy from Doom Patrol and so many other things. And then Abed, right, from
Community. And this is somebody, I have to send you this tweet. Somebody took audio. So they cast Rory McCann as Megatron, who plays the Hound from Game of Thrones. And
right.
Somebody took some line that the Hound says, and they put it like over a picture of Megatron. And I cannot wait to hear this. I really can, because I think it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, man. Yeah, I love him. He's friggin' great. And I've seen the designs of that Megatron, and that Megatron looks good, too.
Yes, I will 100% be buying that toy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird, though, because I want to cover that show with you because it's a new Transformers show, but it's sort of like a kid's Transformers show. That's where it's going to feel real weird covering that.
It's also on Paramount Plus, which although I do have it currently, I can't have all these services all the time. So
right. That's funny you say that. And here we are going on tangents and stuff, but to me, it looks just like that Star Trek Prodigy show, which was like, yeah. And I think that's Nickelodeon, that's Paramount Plus too. So it's like, yeah.
And I am pretty excited about the show. The trailer actually was interesting, and I just like that. They got Nick Roche who's drawn plenty of and written plenty of IDW comics, and I just like that he helped design those characters too. That has like an extra fan, reason to watch it.
Oh, I didn't even know he did that. That's pretty fucking awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's actually, for people that don't know our show, if you're going way back, our show used to be called Ramblings from the Rod Pod, because I originally had Brian come on the Anchor Pete channel to talk about Transformers, and then it's become Comic Books Transform because we just always talk about streaming shows now. But we're like Transformers fans first, and then everything else too. Yeah. And I want to do a little shout out to my friends that always kind of watch our videos no matter what we're talking about. We actually turned on 2 of our friends to The Boys based on our
awesome
video. Yes. My friend Jay, who lives in Texas here, he's an awesome guy. He goes to see movies with me all the time. He started watching The Boys because of our videos. And then Danny from the Laster Cast.
Danny didn't watch The Boys before? I had no idea. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He started watching it because of us. So I'm like, thanks, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start getting into the Marvel waters, shall we? And let's talk about how the fact of we only have one more movie left for Phase 4, right?
One show and one movie. That's crazy.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down each phase, and we're going to talk about each release. And when we talked about San Diego Comic-Con last year, I can't believe we've been doing this shit for a year already. We had a ranking system. And so for those of you guys that don't know, the ranking system goes as follows. There's Uwatu, which means that you have to watch this. Like, we have to watch the show, this movie. Then there's Happy Hogan, which is like, I'm okay if I don't watch it. Maybe I will. Whatever. And then last but not least, there's Daredevil, which is, I can't see this, right? Or I don't want to see this. Or I'm okay with not seeing it. There we go.
Okay with not seeing it, yeah. And I mean, just to throw a little caveat in there is, most likely we will be talking about every one of these shows at some point anyway. Unless we get really overwhelmed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we have to watch these shows. But I'll tell you, though, man, there's a couple of these that I'm not very interested in. Yeah. So let's get right to the chase. I want to hear what you say about each of these. So with Phase 4, just a kind of a quick reminder, this is now part of the multiverse saga. and it's a 3-phase saga. And so far in Phase 4, we've had Black Widow in 2021, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange. We just saw Thor Love and Thunder. And Brian and I have actually reviewed all of those on this channel. There's also been shows such as WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, and we've reviewed all those shows on this channel too. So if you guys like us, if there's first time watching us right now, you can check out reviews of all the Phase 4 stuff. And so there's going to be 7 movies and 8 shows altogether. We got one more movie coming up and one more show. So should we talk about She-Hulk first?
Yeah, it's the closest thing coming. So yeah, might as well.
Okay. So this new trailer, does it change how you feel about the show so far?
I mean, I was excited about the show anyway, but I do think this was a better trailer. I think the CGI looked a lot better. I'm thrilled that they had fourth wall breaking, and I'm just excited about it, I guess.
Yes. When she turns in the trailer and says something like, "It's like, oh, he doesn't want to do that, or he's jealous, or something,"
He doesn't mean that.
It threw me off for a second because it reminds me very much of this one show I love called Fleabag, where the main character breaks the fourth wall like that. And I was like, what? She just talked to us. But then I realized, like, She-Hulk does that in the fucking comics, so it's perfect.
And she did it before Deadpool.
Yeah. So I was so happy with that. And there's multiple things in that trailer that kind of gave me that, oh, shit moment. Like, I mean, we see Titania in there. We see, Abomination, like he transforms into Abomination at one point. Emil Bronsky. Wong shows up at one point and is like, we have a calling to a special order. I felt like there's so much to this. It doesn't seem like my complaint with Moon Knight and with Ms. Marvel is that we had this sort of like global trekking kind of going on, and it still seemed like it was filler. This seems like it's got a lot going on, but they're kind of staying in New York.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this is that this is a half-hour show, and it is a more of a comedy and with a lot of legal drama thrown in. So this is going to be a very different show than anything we've seen, because the only half hour, I mean, I guess WandaVision was a half-hour show, sort of, but this is going to be a little more along those lines there. We also saw there's a bunch of characters there I did not recognize, by the way.
Right.
You recognize Frogman, of course. We talked about him from the last trailer. The Wrecking Crew is definitely here. I definitely saw Enchanted Weapons, and I don't think they're the same people I saw in that teaser trailer. So very curious about that. And then of course at the very end we see Daredevil, which I wasn't expecting. And it seems like Daredevil's just going to pop up in everything. He's going to be in Spider-Man freshman year. He's going to be in this. He's going to show up in Echo, and he's going to show up in his own series. So he's going to be everywhere the next couple of years. But right before they show Daredevil, it looks like She-Hulk is like in a circle, like some kind of group meeting, and there's this guy with like blue and gold armor and this like goat man person, and I have no idea who the hell they are. And if you try and look it up who they are, even if you put those descriptors in there, everything that says, "Oh, that was Daredevil" at the end, I'm like, yeah, I know that.
There's so much going on. There's so many different cuts and characters. There's like some woman that looks like a fairy at one point too. I'm like, who's that?
Yeah, she looks like they appear. Oh, I don't know if it was a man or woman. I'm not much sure, but they like appeared on one of the stands in the courtroom. So there seems to be like a lot of stuff crammed in the show, and I'm excited about it. We'll be talking about this in a couple weeks.
Yeah, well, so to go along with your point you made about Daredevil being so prevalent, I was thinking about this today, that it's this sort of the weird circumstances behind it, right? Because they have this show that was on Netflix that they, for the longest time, said was not part of the MCU. And I think they're probably going to go along with the idea that the show is not part of the MCU. And then you have this actor who's like not a young kid, but he's not a super old man. He's just like the perfect age where he could play the role for a long period of time, and it'll be okay. And you also have an actor who, like, he's not a gigantic movie star who's going to get involved in other franchises or different projects. He's a known star, but he's mainly known for Daredevil, right? Then you have Vincent D'Onofrio, who's like this character actor that everyone knows, but he's not this gigantic megastar, and he plays this villain so well, the Kingpin. It's just like all these factors that are just so perfect. So you have like people that liked the Netflix show, which was the best of all the shows, and like everyone's kind of coming back for it. And it's also this like street level character to where he can be involved in New York, where all the MCU stuff is. And it's never this like over the top crazy, like how are they going to top that thing? It's this perfect storm of factors for him.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really happy. I never finished the Netflix show, but I am looking forward to his show too. Is it the fucking
I haven't either.
yellow costume?
No, it looked red and black to me.
Okay.
I didn't see like a DD on there. It looked like a proto costume almost.
Okay.
Kind of like more on the season, what it looked like in season 1, the end of season 1.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
I think I said it. I'm not sure though. Okay. I don't remember.
Yeah. And of course, Matt Murdock is a lawyer and She-Hulk is a lawyer. So, you got that. And yeah, I think it's great. They kind of need a character that's like the connective tissue. And Iron Man was like that for so much of like phase 1 and phase 2, where like a lot of the villains and stuff kind of came from him. So yeah, like more street level stuff. You could maybe even bring Moon Knight back eventually once you kind of start building this up and have him be in like a street level capacity. This really made me hopeful, this trailer.
Absolutely. And I hope we get, some scenes with, I almost hope we get a scene where She-Hulk and Matt are on the opposite sides of the same case. Like, that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man. So that is our first thing that we're talking about. So with the ratings of Uatu, Happy Hogan, or Daredevil, what are you saying for She-Hulk?
This is very clearly an Uatu for me.
Yeah, Uatu as well. I love the actress too. I can't think of her fucking name off the top of my head. Tatiana Maslany?
Yes.
Yeah, I love her too to begin with. So this is a slam dunk for me. If it's gonna be like Fleabag and it's gonna have her and Daredevil was in it too, Uatu for me. So then let's talk about maybe my biggest Uatu, the movie that's coming out in November of 2022, the last movie of Phase 4, Wakanda Forever. So how did you feel about this trailer, my man?
Man, this was a great trailer. I couldn't really tell you what the hell's going on here other than Wakanda and Atlantis are going to throw down. But it's very clear that they're going with that T'Challa is dead. It seems like he was killed in some fashion, which is such a weird thing because that's how his father died in Civil War?
Civil War, yeah.
Civil War. It's just weird. Like I remember thinking and saying before that I felt in Black Panther that T'Challa was one of the least compelling characters in the movie because everyone else was just so good. Not that he was bad, but like, everyone else was just more interesting, I thought. And even with thinking that, I'm still shocked that they are not recasting. At the same time though, it's like I'm kind of enjoying the debate on who's going to be Black Panther, like what character is going to be. It's kind of reminding me of the debate on who was Mighty Thor when that comic first came out because you didn't know in the first couple of issues. So I'm enjoying that aspect of it, but it's still like really strange to see arguably one of the biggest current Marvel characters in the comics not be around in the MCU anymore,
Yes.
And especially with Namor here, like T'Challa versus Namor, that's going to be like amazing. It would have been amazing, I guess.
I know.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me because, like, I got into Black Panther because of the movie, and I read the run by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and then I also read Christopher Priest's run, which was like sort of like when Marvel Knights first started out in the early 2000s. And both of those runs are like these incredible runs that if you like stay dedicated to them and you read all of them, they're like they just build up to something else, like transcendent, right? And like the supporting cast in both of those runs, it's like Spider-Man, where it's like there's so many other characters that you care about and you're following what's going on with all these different characters. and it's not just the main character that's so interesting. A lot of times, T'Challa takes a back seat in both of those runs too, and just as he does in the first movie, like you always say. So this movie feels like one of those comics, and there's definitely parts in the Priest run, and there's parts in the Ta-Nehisi Coates run where like T'Challa's injured or even presumed dead, and they move on without him, and someone else takes up the mantle. So it just kind of gives me that kind of vibe. I agree, like with you, where it's like, they could have recast him because he is one of the biggest Marvel Comics characters. It's just like they kind of were stuck in this,
possible situation.
Yeah, right. Because it's like Chadwick Boseman like represented that character, to a T, and everything is built around him. The imagery is built around him, and so to have someone else. Some people might say that's in bad taste. Other people are like, no, let that character live on. I mean, because it's definitely one of Marvel's most profitable movies out of the entire franchise.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I have to say that last night you sent me this trailer first and then She-Hulk. But it was like two texts, right? And I looked at She-Hulk first. I was like, oh, I want to see the Black Panther one last. And once I saw this trailer, I was like, I want to just watch Marvel movies. I want to talk about Marvel movies with Brian right now. Like this, I'm so excited because of this.
Dude, I was sitting there like I was watching like a live blog of someone describing what was going on, and I'm like, I was just typing it back to you.
Yeah. The trailer is so well done. There are certain movies where the trailer is like maybe even better than the movie. Like Watchmen. The trailer is so good. And I think like maybe one of the Suicide Squad trailers, like that James Gunn one. There's movies where like the trailer, or like definitely the new Star Wars movies, like Rise of Skywalker, the trailer is better than the movie, right? This trailer is so fucking good. It uses that Fuji song, which is a cover of a Bob Marley song, and then it kind of transitions into the rapper that they did the music for the first Black Panther. So like it's like seamless to transition. And you feel this kind of remorse and sadness in the beginning of the trailer, and then it cuts to the Atlantean stuff. And with the Atlantean stuff, I kind of forgot about Namor while I was watching the trailer. And then there's like this birth underwater, and I'm like, oh, okay, like someone's giving birth in Wakanda underwater. I'm like, and then they started to show more Atlantean stuff. I'm like, oh shit! And it looks so good, like the Atlanteans on the side of the whale coming up, like it just looks like it's like a step above the rest of this MCU Phase 4 stuff.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, spoiler alert. That's an Uatu for me.
Yeah, it's definitely an Uatu for me too. Who the fuck are they going to put in that costume?
I don't know, man. I mean, there's four obvious choices to me. Some are a little more weighted than others. A lot of people are saying it's Nakia because they showed her first in the trailer.
Right.
Kind of like looking out onto the beach. Then you have the comic-based choice, which would be Shuri.
Right.
I wouldn't totally rule out Okoye. I mean, she's getting her own show too. I mean, she's a pretty big name because of The Walking Dead and Black Panther, I'd say. So I wouldn't rule it out. And then you also can't completely rule out Winston Duke's M'Baku. Although I'm pretty sure that was not his frame in that last shot. That didn't look big enough or thick enough to be his size.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe you could even throw in Killmonger into that list. Who knows?
I have thought about Killmonger. I actually think that if it ended up being Killmonger, I think that like this movie would make like $2 billion if it was Killmonger comes back in this and he's like somehow in it. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. But like, if it's Okoye, that's the one who's the Dora Milaje, right?
Yes.
Bald one from the. Okay. Yeah. She, like ruling wise and stuff, it kind of doesn't make as much sense because she's not like part of the lineage or whatever. I don't think it's going to be Shuri just because there's so much controversy about that actress and like her beliefs on COVID and stuff. Yeah. And that leaves us with Lupita Nyong'o's character, which you said, what was her name again?
Nakia.
Nakia. Yeah, I feel so dumb. I love Black Panther. It's in my top 5, but I haven't seen it in a long time, and I forgot all their names. Nakia, I actually think it'd be kind of perfect if it was Nakia. I'm going for either Okoye or Nakia for me.
Yeah. Although now that you said that, if it was Killmonger, it would make $2 billion. I kind of think that would be the most exciting choice, like kind of like a redeemed Killmonger or something like that. That would be kind of nuts, and I kind of want that now.
Yes, and like it would work if like, well, why is T'Challa dead, right? You could do a kind of thing like where you say like he had like a disease, maybe even he did have cancer, and then kind of times it with Chadwick Boseman, and it's sad, and that's how he died.
Hard to watch.
What?
Oh, so hard to watch. Like seriously.
Right, and but also it's like Wakanda's supposed to be this super advanced nation. It'd be kind of like, well, maybe they would have been able to help him. I think it's more likely that he was killed, like outright.
Yeah, I agree. Because they show a mural of his face, which I feel like it was a big imagery thing in Spider-Man Far From Home with Tony.
Yeah,
I feel like that he had to have died in some kind of sacrificial way somewhere.
Yeah, I think that if you really wanted to up the stakes and really make this a big deal, because here's the thing, this is the end of Phase 4. And a lot of times at Marvel, you have this sort of big movie, which is like the last one, and then there's like an epilogue almost, right? Because like Phase 1, the last one is Avengers, right? Then Phase 2, it's like Avengers, Age of Ultron, and then it's Ant-Man, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then like Phase 3 is obviously like Infinity War. Then the last one is like Spider-Man Far From Home. So it's like this movie essentially is like the big ender, because I don't think Thor, Love and Thunder is the big showstopper. So if you really want to like aim for the what the fuck am I saying? Like, when the baseball player goes to hit, he's like aiming for the stands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Calling your shot.
Yeah. If you want to like aim for the stands, if you were to make a Killmonger as Black Panther, and if you wanted to make it that T'Challa was killed because of like Doctor Doom, that would be like you're aiming for the fucking stands. You know what I'm saying?
You know what though? I don't think they could do the Atlanteans and Doctor Doom in the same movie.
Right.
Like both in the same movie seems like I feel like they each deserve their own movie.
Right, but the only reason I'd even suggest that in the first place is just because obviously it seems that there's a conflict between Atlantis and Wakanda, right? And it's like maybe there's some sort of person pulling the strings, making these two massive powers.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, Phase 1 ended with Avengers, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like you always got to end strong. Like, yeah.
You have to have something. Like Namor is exciting, okay, and the way they're portraying him in here looks fucking awesome. Yes. But you need something that's like big level stuff, and maybe you throw in Kang in here. I don't know, but like Doctor Doom, I think if you just like have him in a post-credit scene, boom. Yeah. So anyway, we're still not even out of Phase 4. Let's hop into Phase 5 now.
Speaking of Kang,
what's that?
Speaking of Kang,
we are up to Quantumania, which has a poster. That's pretty much the only thing that's been released, right? And it has Wasp and Ant-Man, and I guess it's Ant-Man's daughter, right?
Yes, they confirmed its stature, recast as Catherine Newton. This is the third casting line we've had now. So they showed something at the panel, but you can only really read descriptions of it. You can't. I haven't been able to find it anywhere. I'm sure somebody recorded it somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. So there is some more information we have out of there. It's Cassie is stature. They actually didn't say stature, so maybe not. But she has a suit. It's purple. We saw that in the poster. We know that Bill Murray is in this movie.
What?
Bill Murray is in this movie as someone who lives in the quantum realm and has some kind of history with Janet.
Okay.
We know that MODOK is in this movie.
I saw that.
And which may or may not be Patton Oswalt voicing, who is the voice of MODOK in the MODOK cartoon on, is it a cartoon? On whatever, the show on Hulu.
Yeah.
And obviously we do know that Jonathan Majors is back and he is Kang the Conqueror. He said that there will be conquering at the panel. So he's not He Who Remains anymore. This is a variant that is officially Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah. When I was talking to Danny before, because Danny and I did a live review of Nope, Danny was saying like, "Oh, that's going to be the bad guy. That's the main guy. Is this guy that was at the end of Loki?" And it's like, no, not that version. That's like the good version. There's going to be this like really badass version of it that's coming.
Yeah.
So that's the most exciting thing about that poster is having him in the background. And I didn't know about Bill Murray. That's a nice fucking twist. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that we kind of alluded to, or I was saying like, it'd be cool that, you know, all the time travel and stuff goes through the quantum realm, and that's why Kang is so big in this. And I was talking about how like you could kind of start to tie this into Ms. Marvel and Captain Marvel by using the quantum realm. I think that they're going to do something with that, right? Do you agree? Or
I agree. I think this movie is going to be the glue that ties this whole saga together, to be honest.
Yeah. Was this supposed to be Phase 4?
I don't think so. I mean, this was announced. I don't remember when this was officially announced. I mean, obviously it was announced at least last year. We knew about it. We've known it's been filming. I don't know if they moved it or not. I think the only two things that were like officially moved were Blade and Armor Wars.
Okay. Well, so when you say officially moved, though, you mean like the time that it was supposed to be released, right?
Correct. Yes.
Because, like, do you remember there was a trailer that started out with Stan Lee doing a monologue, and it was like all the Phase 4 movies, and it had like Black Widow, it showed Shang-Chi, and it did all the releases, and then at the very end, it did like a 4. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That was such a fucking good trailer, but it sort of made it sound like Quantumania and Guardians were part of Phase 4 when I saw it.
Yeah. I mean, they have announced things beyond the phases before, but it's possible they just shifted. I mean, you said before there's what is it, 7 movies and 8 shows in Phase 4?
In Phase 4, yes.
Right. It's 15 things. That's nuts. We can definitely move some stuff around a little bit, to shuffle around to make things a little more even.
Yeah. Well, for Phase 5, it's just 6 movies and 6 shows.
Yeah. So it definitely makes sense that both Ant-Man and Guardians would be in Phase 5 then.
Yeah. So is this an Uatu for you?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, like I said, this is going to be the glue and the setup for everything for this saga, I think.
Right. Yeah, because we're going to have the Kang Dynasty and we're going to have Secret Wars. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Cool, man. So then that brings us up to spring of 2023, our first show that we're talking about for Phase 5. We're talking about Secret Invasion.
Yes.
So what did you learn about this from your research?
Not too much. So we know that obviously Samuel L. Jackson's in it. We confirmed that Colby Smulders is back as Maria Hill, and also Don Cheadle is back as War Machine in this.
Oh, that's cool.
And the other thing I heard, and I'm not 100% sure, but some or all of this might take place during the blip, which is interesting. Interesting because obviously Nick Fury and Maria Hill were dusted during the blip.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that means that Talos and whoever the other Skrull is from Captain Marvel and Far From Home are going to be impersonating those characters throughout the show or not, or if they're actual real versions of the characters or not.
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. I like that it's taking place during the blip time because I think we do need a little bit of filler as to like what's going on in that time too.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the setup is that the Skrulls came in during the blip and they took the places of people that were blipped or something like that.
Oh, okay. That makes it a lot more interesting already. Isn't the actress that played Daenerys, isn't she in the show too?
Oh, yes. Yes, Emilia Clarke is in the show, although I didn't see her name mentioned at all, but maybe it's because it's been known for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder who she would be playing if she's in it.
I mean, to me, it's got to be Queen Varanki, or wherever it is, however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
The one that was Jessica Drew.
Oh man, yeah. It's interesting, right? Because it could just be about Skrulls, and if it takes place during the blip, then that works, right? I remember hearing a crazy theory that what if the invasion is actually like variant people from other realities coming in and replacing people,
Interesting.
you know?
Yeah. Well, I
But
think it's got to be scroll based,
yeah,
because of the end of didn't we?
Spider-Man.
No. Wasn't there something tied in with the end of WandaVision? Wasn't
Well,
there
in the end of Spider-Man: No Way Home, that's where you get the scene with Samuel L. Jackson when he's
up
with
in
the
the
Skrulls.
no? But didn't they like find like a scroll body somewhere in at the end of WandaVision?
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
am I like totally making dumb shit up?
It's not dumb. If that happened, that'd be kind of cool. I don't really remember the post-credit thing. I thought the post-credit thing for WandaVision was that she was like using the Darkhold in the
Well,
woods.
it wasn't a post credit. It was like when they were still wrapping up Monica Rambeau's storyline. I think like somebody like calls over to like a theater or something like that. I can swear.
Okay, you look it up, and I'll just ramble on because I can kind of take those breadcrumbs.
Here we go.
Oh, he's got it.
Okay, Wanda Vision. Monica meets with a Skrull who has been disguised as human law enforcement in the finale. So that happened in the finale. So it's definitely Skrulls.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? I've been thinking about Captain Marvel a lot since we watched Ms. Marvel. And I was just thinking about how is Captain Marvel, the character, kind of going to take a back seat to Ms. Marvel and to Monica Rambeau? Because, I think a lot of people are really excited about Monica Rambeau from WandaVision. And I think that Ms. Marvel, I don't know, it's sort of, the verdict is out. I think a lot of people do like it, but I think there's definitely haters. And then people, I think, just in general have a problem with Brie Larson. And so I'm wondering, is she going to take a back seat to these MCU show characters? And I think that having that kind of connective tissue with this show and playing up the Skrull, that really kind of brings our attention back to the original Captain Marvel movie. I think that when we look at all these MCU shows and movies, I start to forget that one the quickest. Oh yeah, there's Captain Marvel too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Don't you feel like that happens?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting too because 4 years ago, the future of the MCU looked like it was going to be Black Panther and Captain Marvel, and it seems like it's changed.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, right? Because it's really COVID too, right? Because you have Infinity War and you have Endgame right before COVID, and you made that one joke. That was one of your best fucking jokes. You're like, could you imagine if COVID had hit before Endgame and we were just waiting for it, But yeah, it felt a certain way before COVID, and then COVID just fucked everything up. And I do think that what you're saying is right. That they wanted to kind of really amp up Black Panther and Captain Marvel, especially because those movies made so much money. And then you have Chadwick Boseman die, and I think that there's a lot of people that are turned off by Brie Larson. So, I think they had to kind of pivot, and I think that's why Phase 4 feels a little bit disjointed. Do you think that all of the stuff moving forward is going to feel tighter?
I hope so because I think Phase 4 has felt a little bit disjointed. But you could say the same thing about Phase 1, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think when you compare Phase 4 to Phase 1, it makes a little bit more sense rather than comparing Phase 4 to Phase 3 or Phase 2, which were both kind of really good.
Yeah, Phase 3 especially.
Yeah.
Do you think that is there any note of this being the last Samuel L. Jackson movie in his contract, or?
Ooh, I don't know. I remember hearing a long time ago he had a 9-picture deal or something like that. So some 9 appearance deal. So we should probably figure out and count out how many times he's shown up and wonder. Although I could swear I've heard him say he'll keep doing them as long as they want him. So
yeah, he's been really out of it since before Endgame. We saw him in Spider-Man, but that was it. It feels like we're so far beyond that at this point. So it'd be kind of cool to have a show where we're watching him all the time. Speaking of watching, is this an Uatu then for you, or?
Yeah, this is an Uatu, I think. Maybe a little bit lesser than the other ones, but yes.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, everything's almost everything's an Uatu for me. I had to like force myself to like mark something as the other options because I will watch every one of these shows. And
oh yeah, of course. So we should clarify. It's basically based on your interest in watching them, because I know we're almost up to a possible Daredevil for me. So that's not the next one though. The next one is May 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy. Spoilers, I should just say it's an Uatu for me.
Yeah, same here.
The fact that Myrn from Maker, whatever the fuck his name is playing the High Evolutionary. That's an Uatu right there.
And he came out during the panel dressed as the High Evolutionary, and he said some in-character stuff.
That was so awkward as he like slowly walked out, and like James Gunn was just kind of like narrating him coming down. It was like just so dragged out. He's like, "Oh yeah, he's taking his time." It was awkward as hell. Do you think that that's the way his face is going to look?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It kind of matches that kind of Guardians aesthetic that they have in the other movies.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of lacking his helmet, I suppose, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to have High Evolutionary, and I'm pretty sure he's the one that created Adam Warlock, right?
Great question. I mean, we're also assuming here that was Adam Warlock in that pod at the end of the second movie, too. So, I mean, I can't remember that race. What race was that? The gold people.
Oh, yeah, that weird-ass golden people race.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Maybe he created him for them or with them or something, possibly, but I think the real purpose of the High Evolutionary here is going to be getting to the core of Rocket and what he is and why he is.
Yes. Very good point. The very last shot of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is Rocket. So, yeah. Good point. Yeah. It does feel like there needs to be some resolution there. You know, Guardians is kind of weird, too, because, you know, James Gunn got fired from Marvel and COVID, obviously, right? So I think that, like, this got pushed back so far. I don't even know when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 came out, but, I mean, I think it's, like, already, like, 6 years.
I want to say it was, like, 2017.
Yeah. So that's 5 years already. And, you know, it's weird because so many of these movies, they come out within, like, a period of, like, 2 to 3 years in between. It's like a typical 2017.
Yeah.
You know, and then other ones, like the difference between the first Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness is this huge gap in between. And I think this one probably has the longest gap of any MCU movie and sequel.
Yeah, I definitely think the James Gunn controversy sidelined this one a bit because of that, because they had to wait that period of time where they said they fired him or whatever and they had to wait to bring him back, honestly.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that this like takes place like post Thor Love and Thunder, and there must be this like period where they're going to try to like bring Gamora or this variant version of Gamora onto the team, and there's going to be some between her and Star-Lord. There's going to be stuff with Rocket Raccoon and like his origin, and then Adam Warlock too, which is he's played by this kid from like he's in a lot of things. He's in Midsommar, and he was in this one crazy episode of Black Mirror called Bandersnatch. Did you ever end up watching that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he was the programmer guy, right? Yeah.
Right. I gotta apologize to our viewers. I just like I did not write down any fucking actors' names or anything. I'm just like that guy in that. He wore that hat. What's that?
Will Poulter.
Oh, look at this fucking guy, dude. I couldn't do this show without you, man. You know all the dates. You know who's in this stuff. Yeah. So anyway, he's playing Adam Warlock, which I think that's kind of an inspired choice.
Yeah, I think he's really good. And who else do we have in this? Yeah, so we mentioned Adam Warlock. We mentioned High Evolutionary. I from the trailer description, I read that Groot is like more fully grown again. So he looks more like Groot from the first Guardians movie. Cool. I'm not sure about this, but Gamora might be with the Ravagers or leading the Ravagers. I only saw that in one place. Maybe somebody got it wrong. I'm not sure about that, but obviously, yes, this is the time displaced Gamora and not the same version and all that, and that will play into this movie. They also mentioned that Cosmo will be in it more prominently, and is now voiced by Maria Bakalova, who I believe was in that second Borat movie. I think that's her. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, okay.
And it's interesting that they're changing Cosmo, because Cosmo did have a line in was it the second movie or the first movie? I don't remember. It had to have been the second movie. And I also know that Daniela Melchior has an undisclosed role in this movie as well, who was Ratcatcher 2 from the Suicide Squad. So James Gunn bringing a couple of his, he kind of tends to go with the same actors a lot. So I'm curious.
Is John Cena going to be in it?
I have not heard John Cena will be in it. So
okay. Oh man, dude, is Peacemaker season 2 coming out?
Oh man, I mean they announced that it will come out, but
okay.
I mean DC could have did that. They could have said Peacemaker 2 is coming at some point.
I know. What the hell? They just did fucking Black Adam and Shazam. I know. Yeah, that's when it came out. Yeah. I know, man. So I'm excited. Thor: Love and Thunder didn't really give us much for the Guardians. It showed that they were all together. It showed that they had James Gunn's brother on the team too. He had, his Mohawk
and Arrow.
Yeah. So it's just cool to have all these characters, and I love those characters. I love James Gunn. Like pretty much every single thing he's made since Guardians 1 and before, I'm a fan. So, it's a Watu for me. I'm assuming it's a Watu for you too.
Of course. You guys have to see how this team goes out. Because this will be the last hurrah for this group.
Yeah. It'd be kind of bittersweet.
I'm sure some character will come back in some capacity, but as a whole, this is it for them.
I know, yeah. So then that brings us to, you ready? My first Daredevil. Brings us to Echo in summer of 2023.
Forgot the rankings. Yes. I agree here. If there's anything on this list that I'm less excited about, it's definitely this.
Yeah.
Not that I had any problem with Echo in the Hawkeye show. I thought maybe they crammed her in there in that show, and the show might have been a little better had they trimmed some of the fat around it, and I think that would have been the thing to trim.
Yeah.
But we know that Charlie Cox is showing up, so that's at least a reason to watch. And Echo's a pretty important character in the comics right now. And while I don't think they'll go the same route by making her the Phoenix Force,
right.
I don't know what the show's going to be about, honestly. So.
Yeah, they must have some kind of ground level threat in New York that's going to be, I'm probably going to be on somebody's list for saying that combination of words, but there must be some kind of ground level thing that's going to be in one of these movies, because you have so much of Daredevil, you have Moon Knight, She-Hulk probably there's going to be connections to things, and then you're going to have this. I understand that they are, with all these properties, they want to sort of encourage diversity, and now you have this deaf character, and it's kind of stand out on the Hawkeye show. I think just besides bringing back that character, there must be some other big New York thing that's coming.
Yeah. The other thing to consider here, and this is kind of a little far-fetched, I think, but there obviously is a somewhat of a diversity push for these shows. They've changed a lot of genders and races for a lot of characters. And in this, particularly for Echo, is a disabled character. She only has, is it one leg or both of her legs are missing?
She has a fake, bottom half of one of her legs.
Yeah, so I think they're just trying to get as many angles and as much representation as possible in these movies here, because that's something they've been heavily criticized for. It took them how many years to get a female fronted movie? When it started in 2008, and Captain Marvel was the first, so that was 2016, 2017, something like that.
Right, so, and then Black Widow. Yeah, and then this, because I think that Ms. Marvel is the first MCU. No. WandaVision is the first female MCU show, and then Ms. Marvel, and now this. And
Yeah.
and of course, there's how many shows altogether so far? Like 13 or 14. So yeah, I agree. That's a really good point. I think that kind of leads into a point that isn't connected to any of these releases. It's connected to all of them, which is it's interesting that they're not talking about like direct sequels to Phase 4 properties yet.
Yes. So there are a bunch of gaps in that season, that Phase 6 map so far. So we only know the first movie, and we know the last 2 movies of Phase 6. And there's a whole bunch of dates place marked out there. So I'm assuming we'll see a bunch of sequels in that time frame. I think, there's got to be a Spider-Man movie somewhere. I'm not expecting another Thor movie. I'm thinking Thor's just going to show up in the Avengers towards the end, and that's going to be it. And one of the only sequels they talked about really is Captain America, which is one of the next things we're going to talk about.
Yes,
we got a little while before we get to that.
We do. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think I heard that there was like 8 projects that are like in production that they haven't announced yet.
Yeah.
So those could be like sequels to the Eternals, sequels to like Shang-Chi, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. All right. So then, speaking of a sequel series, and I say speaking of a lot in these videos, we have in summer of 2023 Loki, which I'm going to say is actually a Happy Hogan for me.
Agree. Happy Hogan.
Look at you and me, man. Why is it Happy Hogan for you?
Because I had to mark something. It's something
okay, all right.
I want to. I liked Loki. I don't know exactly where the show is going to go. If Jonathan Majors is going to be Kang in Quantumania, I don't know if he'll be back in that. So I don't know what the show's going to do. I'm happy we're seeing continuation of existing characters. That's probably the most exciting thing for me about it.
Yeah. Is Mobius supposed to come back or no?
Yes, he's supposed to come back. Yes.
Okay. That's cool. Owen Wilson. Okay, that helps. I mean, Tom Hiddleston as Loki. There you go. I'm already interested. I'm glad I'm going to watch it on Disney Plus. But as you know, when I rank my Disney Plus shows, Loki is kind of on the lower end.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not a big fan of the show. I do like Loki though, and I do like Sylvie, the variant. So I kind of feel the same way as you. It's like I don't know what they're going to do with it, but that's why it's a Happy Hogan for me. It's in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So then that brings us up to July of 2023 and the Marvels.
Yeah, we don't have much information. They didn't really give any information. There's just a name, so we don't know anything further that we haven't mentioned since we reviewed Ms. Marvel. I am going to put this at an Uatu, or maybe a lower level Uatu, but it's there. I'm real curious how they're going to tie these 3 characters together. I'm hoping we get some more space stuff. I'm curious to see more of Carol in the present day. Very little, I almost said blips of her, very little pieces of her presence post Avengers Endgame.
Yes. So I think one thing that'd be fun would be to speculate the shit out of this one, because I keep getting excited about the potential for this. Now, I could be completely wrong about what I'm thinking, but they said in Ms. Marvel that the gauntlet the band, right, the bracelet she's wearing, like unleashed her power, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think it'd be kind of cool if you could bring back the Inhumans in this, and like you make it to where you kind of have Inhumans, you have mutants. It's like there's kind of like a blurred line between the two, and like that's where there's okay. Let me just explain where the fuck I'm going with this. One of the things they announced at the beginning of Comic-Con is that Marvel Boy is going to be in this.
Oh, that's right. You sent me that too. I forgot about that.
So Marvel Boy in the comics, this version of Marvel Boy is like created by Grant Morrison, and they made it to where he was from a different MCU, like a different Marvel universe, and he came over into our dimension, and he's kind of like a refugee, and he's hunted down because he's not supposed to be here. I think that he's just going to be a regular a regular Kree, and that he has to track something down. He has to find something. And I'm thinking that it's that they can like create Inhumans, and like my guess is that they're going to make it that the Inhuman show is not the MCU. It doesn't count, but that like there are Inhumans, and that Inhumans are just basically like proto mutants, and that like the Inhumans are like a threat, and that's why they're going after the bracelets. I think the bracelets are the key, because that post-credit scene in Ms. Marvel has to do with the bracelet, right? And the bracelets can make you travel through time. It looks like it made Ms. Marvel and Captain Marvel switch places. So I think my belief is that the bracelet is like a traveling device that can activate powers. That's my 2 cents. I probably sound like a fucking lunatic just with what I was trying to explain. Does any of that make sense?
Yes. And I forgot to mention this too when we were talking about Wakanda Forever, but obviously we saw some blue Atlanteans. Kind of curious if they'll tie that together with any of the Kree, because some of the Kree are blue as well. So I wonder if any of that ties together. I mean, you could even possibly question if that was an Atlantean in Miss Marvel rather than a Kree, but I think it was probably a Kree, unless they're tied together, and they're both.
Yeah.
So that sounds plausible. But other than that, I have no other general guesses about what this could be about.
Yeah, well, I think just for me, because it's like they allude to the idea that Kamala is a mutant at the end of
show. that might muddy the waters a bit if she's a mutant, because it seems like if they're doing that, they want to just forget about the Inhumans and focus on hyping up the X-Men, because rightfully so, because that's my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows, man? Because like one thing I wanted to mention when we were talking about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, is that Wakanda and Atlantis have fought each other in the comics at least twice, maybe 3 times actually. Because I think there was one time during Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run where like Namor and Black Panther are going against each other. I think that there's a battle between them in the X-Men versus Avengers with like the Phoenix stuff. And then in that Black Panther Christopher Priest run that I was talking about, Atlantis and Wakanda fight too. And in that run, there's a whole nother underwater kingdom called Lemuria, which that's like a real underwater kingdom that people talk about in mythology or people believe, like with conspiracies. There's always Atlantis and there's Lemuria. But in the comics, Lemuria is like a deviant city.
Ooh, okay.
Right. And so like the deviants in the Eternals movie are like these big monsters, these kind of like, creatures. They look like they're from like fucking Transformers Beast Wars or like something, like the Transformers Prime Beast Wars. And I just think that like they probably want to tie this stuff closer together because they know that guys like us and the whole world really is looking for that connective tissue. And so I don't know if it would be that big of a stretch if that actually was an Atlantean's arm in the Ms. Marvel show that was wearing the band. It's probably a Kree, like you said, but I just think that it's fair game where you can like kind of bring in Inhumans, Eternals, you can kind of overlap this shit,
Yeah.
We'll see. But that makes it an Uatu for me. So
Yep.
So then that brings us up to November of 2023, and we have Blade. And you said that's a movie, right?
Blade's a movie, yes.
Do we know if the guy that, Black Knight, is he going to be in Blade?
They've said nothing about it whatsoever.
Okay.
We just know it's Mahershala Ali, and that's it. That's all we know.
Okay.
Based on that, as much as I do like at least the first 2 Blade movies, and I'm thankful for, them kind of maybe allowing for the X-Men movie and Spider-Man movies to be made. This is a happy Hogan for me, because I don't see how it can tie in at all.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, I want to see. I'm excited about it, but again, I had to mark something as not an Uatu somewhere.
Right. Blade 2 is one of my favorite movies ever made. And,
Uh,
you know, obviously Guillermo del Toro is not directing this, so I don't think it's going to be anywhere near there. And the Blade movies were kind of their own thing. They kind of like made their own movies besides the Marvel mythology. Um, I think that though you have a door that you can open for like Midnight Suns kind of stuff and like Ghost Rider and Lilith and all this kind of stuff that was in the 90s a really big deal, and Blade was a part of
there
that.
is that Midnight Suns video game coming out sometime next. Is it end of this year? Or is it early next year? I don't remember anymore. But yeah,
Right.
Ghost Rider's in that. The Lilith is the villain. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, there's the book of there was the Redeemers of Darkhold, which was about that book, and there was like 3 people that were always hunting down like the pages of it. That was a Midnight Suns title, and Blade was on a team called the Night Stalkers. So I think that there's like a lot of potential to bring all that stuff in and have like a dark side of the MCU. So I guess, yeah, I would say it's a Happy Hogan for me too. Are we like completely eye to eye on each of these so far?
what did you have for Marvels?
I said Uatu.
Yeah, we have.
You said like a Lester Uatu. Nice. Okay. All right. Well, holy shit. We still have 5 more to go.
Well, but there's almost nothing known about any of these things, so we can probably rifle through these pretty quickly.
Boom. Okay. Cool. All right. So what do you know about Ironheart then? That's coming in fall of 2023.
She's going to show up in Wakanda.
Wait, for real?
Yeah, wasn't she in the trailer? She wasn't.
Oh,
there was a heart in the trailer. I thought she was in the trailer. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, Riri Williams.
Yeah, Riri Williams. I know they cast an actress for the role. I could swear that they referenced her in some manner in the Wakanda trailer. Maybe I'm wrong. This is also a Happy Hogan for me, just because I don't know where it fits. I don't know much about it, and again, I just needed to write something for something.
Okay. I totally forgot any kind of mention to Wakanda Forever and Ironheart. There is this one part in the Wakanda Forever trailer where someone is making something the way that like Tony Stark was making a suit of armor in a couple of the Iron Man movies, and it's like hammering away at something. So maybe that's it. That'd be really cool if you could tie in Ironheart to Wakanda Forever somehow, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think without Tony Stark, it's a very logical choice to have Shuri kind of take that role of helping her build whatever the armor suit that she needs.
Oh shit! There is this one woman in the trailer that Shuri hugs.
Yes.
So
yeah.
You're saying that's the actress?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. That's what I thought it was, but I could be wrong.
Well, if you guys have made it all the way to an hour into our video, an hour and 3 minutes into our video, and you know if that's Riri or not, then let us know in the comments too, because I'm very curious about that. So then I'm going to say that based on what we're saying, it kind of makes it an Uatu for me. For Riri, a lot of people dog on Riri in the comics because they feel like she's like sort of the anti-Miles Morales, like that. Miles Morales is this interesting character. They're both created by Bendis, which is interesting too. But they feel like she's just too much of like she's so awesome, and she's like a 16-year-old that is as smart as Tony Stark, and she just comes out of nowhere. But I think I kind of like her in spite of that. I think that she's an interesting character, and I liked her book when she was in Iron Man, and then when she had Ironheart. I liked those books, so I'm kind of a Riri fan.
I don't think I've read any comics with her in it. I think the only thing I've seen with her is what is that? It's like a Marvel like animated series that's kind of like it was just on like YouTube, or there's just like a couple of they're not it's not a series, but it's not quite a movie.
The girls, right? They made dolls out of
Marvel Rising. That's what it is.
Marvel Rising. Yeah, she's in there.
I think that's the only thing I've seen the character in. So I don't know.
Wow.
This is the first that we've differed on, and it's just really from my lack of knowledge.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? I recommend the Bendis written, Ironheart stuff if you ever want to check it out. But so then that brings us to winter of 2023. So we're already going a year and a half from now, and that brings us to Agatha Coven of Chaos. I'd have to say, this is a Daredevil for me.
Yeah, I agree. I totally admit that Catherine Hahn kind of stole some of the show in WandaVision, but
Yeah.
I'm still kind of surprised there's a spinoff show here.
Right. Exactly. Like, I think that some of these I'm like, oh, okay, I guess they made it because of the appeal of the characters or because people talked about the characters. Like they talked about Echo and they talked about Agatha Harkness, but it's like, how does this fit into the big picture? Does it fit in at all? And yeah, I pretty much feel the exact same way as you. I think Catherine Hahn's amazing. They'll probably come up with some kind of interesting thing and they'll probably put in a character that we really want to see. Like that's kind of their thing is, have a character or a story that's not that interesting, but then you put in someone that you really want to see into it, and then everyone starts talking about it.
Yeah, this is a Daredevil until we hear more about it, I think.
Right. Okay. Nice. All right, we are almost out of phase 5, which is kind of funny because this next one, I don't think we're very Daredevil about this next one, which is Daredevil. Daredevil Born Again, spring of 2024.
Yeah, this is clearly a new watch here. We know almost nothing about it other than Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio were in it, and that it's an 18-episode season. And Kevin Feige literally said is an 18-episode first season. First, I thought it was like, oh, Marvel does 6-episode seasons, so maybe it'll be a 3-season Daredevil show off the bat, and that would be fantastic. But no, this is an 18-episode first season, and I'm super curious. I've read this story in the comics. It's possibly one of the most famous, if not the most famous Daredevil story. So
right.
This is a must watch here.
Yeah. And Frank Miller's Daredevil, right?
Yeah, Frank Miller's Daredevil. Yes.
Yeah. So 18 episode season, man. Like we're gonna be covering these fucking MCU shows until I retire from education. Like we don't have to worry about, oh, what are we going to cover for this month? It's like, we got it. We got Daredevil or something, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, this is a must watch for me. I'm very curious to see if they bring in the rest of the supporting cast from the Netflix show.
Yes. I would love to see Karen and Feige come back.
Yeah, exactly. So, Daredevil is one of my favorite Marvel characters. Charlie Cox does a fantastic job. I never finished the show, but I don't know. Hopefully they can keep us entertained for 18 episodes. I'm assuming Bullseye will probably be in it then, and
yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. So that is a Watu for me too. Got 2 more to go then. Captain America New World Order. What the hell is that going to be about?
No idea. I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
It's a Watu because it's a Captain America movie. They've been some of my favorites overall in the MCU.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see Sam in the lead role. And I'm curious what other characters they're going to add to it or what the villain will be or whatever. Know nothing about it, but it's easily an Uatu for me.
Yes. Yeah. It's an Uatu for me too. I think that probably Sebastian Stan will be in there as well.
Yeah.
Just because, Bucky is always so involved in the Captain America books. Even when Sam was Cap, Bucky was very much involved. Yeah, I have no idea what the hell. I mean, if you do introduce MODOK in Quantumania, maybe him and like AIM will be in this too. I don't know. They could just be a little side thing to fight. When I hear New World Order, it just makes me think that it maybe, I don't know. I mean, it could be like a secret empire type thing. You don't think they would do that, right?
Ooh, that would be interesting, but I don't know how you do secret empire right now. I mean, it seems, it seems too early. Oh my god! Like, wait a minute. What if they bring back Chris Evans and it's Secret Empire? Oh shit!
What if they bring back Chris Evans and Secret Empire, but it's like he's a Chris Evans from another reality?
Yeah, like what if he comes back as Evil Cap? Oh yeah. Shit!
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna be disappointed wherever it actually is now that we've thought of that.
Yeah. Like he's like a variant Cap that is like from a Hydra controlled world, a variant world. He comes over and he pretends to be regular Cap that's back and like the right age for Captain America, because I don't think the general public knows that he is old, right?
Yes, yeah. That'll be really interesting. And now I really want to go watch The Gray Man on Netflix because Chris Evans plays kind of like a bad guy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, who knows, man? I think it would kind of steal from Anthony Mackie. Like, his first name's Anthony, right?
Yeah, Anthony Mackie.
I'm fucking horrible with the names today, but like, I think it would kind of steal from his thunder for Chris Evans to be back as Cap in the fourth movie. But if he was like the evil Cap, I think that'd be kind of cool.
I think though it may kind of taint Chris Evans' legacy as Cap if they were to do that. And I think that if they did, they would need to bring him back proper afterwards. And I'm not sure that they should do that, at least not so soon.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
But then again, this is when is this one again? This is
May.
This is like 2 years from now, so maybe we'll feel differently when that comes around.
Yeah. We might be like super excited to see him with the shield, and he'll say "Hail Hydra" or something,
Yeah. For real this time.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so then you said it's an Uatu. It's an Uatu for me. We're pretty much eye to eye on all of these. Here comes the end of Phase 5. We have the Thunderbolts. Who's on that team?
It's got to be all these characters we've been seeing getting lined up by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, the Countess or the Baron. Countess, right?
Countess. Something with an A. Fontaine. Oh God.
Yeah, I almost said Baroness. I was getting kind of G.I. Joe for a second, but yeah. So the Countess, she's been recruiting the team, and so far we know just from what we've seen that she's got
Yelena,
Black Widow, right?
We got
Yelena.
We could probably see. I think Baron Zemo would make a lot of sense here. And I think they're gonna have to add some other characters to this as well. There's got to be somebody else I'm forgetting that they've already introduced already. But like, I feel like this would be like a great place to throw in a Red Hulk. I don't know if they can get away with Taskmaster. Maybe I was thinking of, but I don't know if they can do that with the existing Taskmaster unless they give us the real a more comic based version of Taskmaster.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a decent starting point.
So, do you think that the Thunderbolts team in this is like the Thunderbolts, where they're pretending to be heroes but they're actually villains? Do you think that it's like almost like a Suicide Squad type team? Like, what do you think is going on with the actual idea behind this team? Are they replacing the Avengers?
I kind of feel like this is going to be more of a combination of like Dark Avengers, Secret Avengers, to be honest. I think they're going to be people that kind of need to be redeemed, trying to do something good in the world. Because I can't say Yelena fits into a mold of a villain here.
No.
And that's really the most telltale thing there. And even U.S. Agent, I mean, he had good intentions. He's kind of lost control a bit. So yeah. I think this is going to be more about people that have done wrong that are going to be put together to do something right.
Okay. Yeah, so with Dark Avengers, you have all these characters kind of imitating existing Avengers, but you have like Bullseye pretend to be Hawkeye, and like the guy that was Venom at the time, not Eddie Brock, but Scorpion was Venom, and he was being Spider-Man, right? So I think it's not like a team like that. Do you think it's possible that we might have the Hercules that was in Thor: Love and Thunder be on the team?
Ooh, that would be interesting. Actually, we got to figure. Yeah, that's got to show up somewhere too. So maybe there will be a Thor movie in that void in Phase 6.
Yeah, I mean, because I figure that with the Thunderbolts, regardless of the intention of the team, I think that they are going to be sort of like parallels to the original Avengers team, right? So you have Yelena as Black Widow, and then you have U.S. Agent as Steve, right? So then you need like a Thor, you need a Hulk, and you need Hawkeye, right?
So I guess Hercules could kind of fit that bill as the Thor to God,
right.
And then I think either Abomination or introducing Thunderbolt Ross as Red Hulk would fit Hulk. So
unfortunately, Thunderbolt Ross, the actor, he's dead. William
He did.
Hurt.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah. So we can't do a Red Hulk with William Hurt unless they recast him. There is another Red Hulk that eventually shows up in the comics. That's like just a soldier that becomes the Red Hulk. They could do him.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's not as interesting though. I mean, honestly, it would, like, if you had like a red She-Hulk, maybe you could do that, because you do have what's her face? Liv Tyler played Betty Ross.
That could work. Although
right?
I don't feel like Red Shield was as interesting to me as General Ross becoming the Hulk, because General Ross was always so anti-Hulk. Obviously, and him becoming that, what he hated was more interesting to me, I think, than Betty becoming that kind of like weird, almost like a gargoyle kind of looking thing, rather than they call a Red Hulk.
Yeah. So, what do you call it? I think that probably we'll see that Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like that she was working for Thunderbolt Ross, like she was working for William Hurt's General Ross, and like maybe he does die of a heart attack in the MCU too, or I don't know, they do something with him. Maybe the idea was to have him be the Red Hulk, because I think if you're going to name the team Thunderbolts, I know that initially in the Marvel universe, they just were this random team that Baron Zemo put together. But I think that to be called Thunderbolts in the MCU, it's probably because of William Hurt. Yeah. That's my guess.
And he was a prominent member of the team at other points as well. So,
right. And he's sort of like in opposition so much. He's in Black Widow in Phase 4. He's in is he in Endgame? No, he's in Infinity War.
Yeah.
So he's in a lot of these too. So he's in Civil War. So I feel like he has to be at least referenced in this.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right. So then we are done with Phase 5. That is 6 movies and 6 shows. We're pretty much eye to eye with our rankings. That brings us to the confirmed Phase 6. So we have Fantastic Four in November of 2024, right? And from what we know, there's just been kind of like leaks about the casting, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm taking that with a grain of salt, honestly. A lot of people thought they were going to announce that. They didn't. It's probably smart they didn't. It's so far out. This is, November 8th, 2024. That's a long time away. They don't need to get that cast yet. Things could very easily change by then, too.
Yeah, so, I mean, who knows if society's going to be around by that time.
Yeah, exactly.
So then the other two.
We didn't rank it, but it's a Watu for me. I love the Fantastic Four. I've never seen the Josh Trank one, but the other movies are a bit of a letdown, I suppose. So I would love to see them done well, because I really do like Fantastic Four.
Yeah, ditto. I think if they're done well, it'll be real interesting, and it'll be interesting to see, are they modern characters that are from the MCU and they just get their powers by this point, or are they characters that got their powers like in the 60s or something, like when the comic actually came out, and maybe they've been traveling through space, or they've been stuck in time somewhere and they come out, maybe they were in the quantum realm, who knows, right?
I feel like they have to be taking the same route as the Ultimate version with traveling to the quantum realm rather than the cosmic rays in space. I feel like that's just like a given to me.
Yeah. Well, in the Ultimate version, they go to the negative zone, and that's how they get the powers.
Oh, that's right. Negative zone. Sorry. They're going to go to the quantum realm here, and they're going to get powers from that. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, cool. I'm down with that. So then that brings us to the last two. We got Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and we have Avengers, Secret Wars. So I'm assuming that the Secret Wars in this is going to be like the Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah. And it brings the whole multiverse saga to a conclusion. So I'm assuming that like the incursions, which they reference all the way in fucking Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, probably have wiped out a lot of realities by this point, and we're just dealing with like the scraps.
Yes, I figured that the incursions are going to happen, and the end of the movie of the Kang Dynasty is going to be like the introduction of Battle World, or whatever the hell they called it. And
Battle World, yeah.
Yeah, the next movie would be that and solving it and getting things back.
Yeah.
Just like how they did with Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh, man. It's going to be so fucking crazy. And I mean, if it's going to be the conclusion of the multiverse saga, then I think you're just going to have all these different variants of characters. And I think that you're going to have, like, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and the Fantastic Four that you just referenced, like probably the Josh Trank version and the other version, and like any other kind of live action version of any of these characters are all going to be in this fucking thing.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you top something like the ending battle in Endgame.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, that's kind of crazy to fucking think, right?
Yeah, it is.
Oh man, so I guess that's a noir too for those two, for us too, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the real question too is, I mean, based on the Fantastic Four at the beginning of it and the Secret Wars at the end here, obviously Doom's got to play a big role somewhere.
Right. So don't you think that kind of maybe gives some credence to the idea of him being in Wakanda Forever?
Yeah, because they got to start bringing him in sooner. And I remember there was that rumor or like Howard Stern said he was working on something Doctor Doom related. Like he just casually said it. So I think by accident, like it seemed like an actual legitimate slip.
So, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that was said maybe a few weeks ago. I can't remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows?
I thought that Noah Hawley, the guy that did Fargo, does the Fargo show, and he's made some movies too. I thought that he was working on a Doctor Doom movie.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. I believe that is the Noah Hawley thing. But again, rumors, I suppose. I mean, supposedly Howard Stern did say that. It sounds like a weird thing to say randomly. So there must be some kind of truth to it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is exciting. I don't know. Howard Stern's a big Ant-Man fan, too. He wanted to buy the rights to Ant-Man before they made the movie.
Really?
Because he thought no one would ever make an Ant-Man movie, and so he wanted to, like, buy the rights and make it. And then, obviously they didn't do that, and Paul Rudd was in it. But, yeah, so with all that being said, did you have any other things that you want to talk about with Comic-Con?
I forgot to mention Armor Wars: The Secret Invasion. I want to mention that was a show. It is still happening, but it was not mentioned at all. And I think I'm wondering how they pivoted. Actually, this does tie into this now. So,
okay.
It was announced earlier on as one of the earlier or one of the later installments of the first round of Marvel shows. It has been pushed. It has been confirmed that they are still working on it. It's still coming. But they announced that Don Cheadle was added to or appearing in Secret Invasion. So I'm wondering if they're pivoting around that, and I wonder if Doom will be involved in that. Obviously, Doom is someone who was Iron Man sort of for a little while. He does wear a suit of armor.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't
know. That would be really cool if they did this thing where like maybe the Fantastic Four have already gotten their powers, right? Maybe like Victor Von Doom and Reed Richards and his crew go into the quantum realm, and Reed and his crew are stuck in there, or they choose to voyage in there, and then Victor's able to make his way back to Earth. And Victor's been like behind the scenes kind of doing things from Latveria. Maybe he's behind the death of T'Challa, because maybe T'Challa could have been his biggest obstacle. And he's like growing in power, and then he goes to fill the vacuum of Tony Stark being dead too. And so he, you know what I'm saying? Like he becomes like Iron Man or something like that in there. That, we're like kind of plugging Doom into all these things, but like he's just this great character they haven't exposed yet, And so it's like you could do all this kind of interesting stuff with him.
Yeah.
And the thing is, here's one glaring like thing that we haven't even talked about. Where are the X-Men?
I'm so torn here. A lot of people thought they were going to make some X-Men casting announcements as well. I thought that they might have done something with FF, but I knew that there was no way they were announcing X-Men casting now because the movie's got to be really far off, I think.
Yeah. Well, is there any X-Men thing in Phase 5 or Phase 6?
I don't know. I'm guessing not for 5. I guess it's possible for 6, but I have a feeling that maybe that they'll just appear in the whatever the aftermath of Secret Wars is in Phase 7. That's kind of what my gut is telling me.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that I still kind of have this theory that like Kang saw a mutant or multiple mutants as a threat to his supremacy, and so he like took mutants out of the MCU. Like he didn't make it so that mutants couldn't exist, and that there's a timeline where mutants do exist, and I think that that's going to collide with the MCU timeline, and that's going to be a big part of Secret Wars. And maybe you have a thing where you had in Multiverse of Madness where you have kind of variants of existing characters, like you have a Patrick Stewart from that version, but it's not the Patrick Stewart from the Fox X-Men movies, and you have a Hugh Jackman. But I don't think they're going to have a Hugh Jackman Wolverine in that one because, they're going to probably go with a younger actor. So maybe there's like another timeline where there's like younger new cast X-Men, and then there's the old X-Men too. I think everything's just collided to Secret Wars, But that might be where there's these gaps. Maybe we're starting to plug it in with X-Men stuff. I don't know. I might be wrong though.
The other thing too to consider too is the current crossover that's going on in Marvel right now with AXE, which is Avengers, X-Men, Eternals, where the Eternals are basically saying, "Hey, we think the X-Men are deviants, so we have to kill them." So we have to kind of figure out if that's going to factor in at all with the introduction of the X-Men as well, and if they'll tie them in with the Eternals or not. I figured they got to pop up somewhere at some point. I'm surprised that they haven't yet in this entire lineup announcement. So I guarantee there's an Eternals movie in that 8-movie gap. Guarantee it.
Yeah, because the ending was like a cliffhanger ending, right? With Cersei being like teleported away, the other Eternals being teleported away, and then they brought in, Firefox too. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really wonder about those gaps, and so they'll probably explain them all in that big Disney Expo. When's that? Is that coming up soon too, or no?
No. Didn't the Disney one happen already?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta
Yeah. Oh,
and then we also got to find out what's going to happen with Spider-Man, if he's going to come back or not. I mean, I'm hoping there's a Spider-Man movie in there somewhere, and I'm hoping Miles Morales gets introduced because I feel like the biggest takeaway of Secret Wars for me in the comics was that Miles was now in 616. So I feel like he has to be involved.
Yeah. Wow. So much stuff, man. And we're only in July of 2022. Yeah, so we're talking November of 2026.
3.5 years. Crazy. Wonder
Who
how old will be then.
Yeah. How old will your kid be then?
I guess July he'll be 10.
Wow. That puts it in perspective, right? Yeah.
Oh no, 9. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then in 2026, my daughter, she'll be 10. Yeah. So it's crazy. My other daughter will be 16. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh,
I might be off by a month or two, but yeah. Anyway, this maybe is our longest episode we've ever done.
Yeah. Well, it's San Diego Comic-Con is a whole crap load of Marvel stuff. So
yeah, but it's been a lot of fun. You had a good time too, man?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, then, so for all of you that have stayed the whole hour and a half with me and Brian today, and you've never seen us before, thank you. And maybe you can come join us because we are currently covering the Umbrella Academy Season 3. We're up to episodes 4, 5, and 6, which we will talk about on Wednesday night, 9:15 Central Time. And then we also cover other Netflix shows that are superhero shows. We cover all the MCU shows, and if there's any kind of DC show on HBO Max, we cover that too. Of course, we cover the big comic book movies when they come out. So make sure that you guys like and subscribe, and you can just listen to us talk, whenever you want, every week. So we'll talk to you guys real soon.